In this video, we are going to look at rearranging equations and formulas. So it's important for us to be able to use our algebra skills in order to rearrange formulas in case we're looking for part of the formula that it's not set up to look for. So for example, if I have the formula I equals PRT, but I'm looking for P, I need to be able to rearrange that equation to be P equals rather than I equals. And so we can use the same skills and strategies we do when solving linear algebraic equations in order to rearrange the equations for the variable that we're looking for. So when we're solving these, we first want to expand any brackets and collect like terms. We're simplifying the formula as much as possible. We're removing any fractions if we need to by multiplying both sides. And then we want to isolate the variable by basically moving or getting rid of every other variable besides the one we're looking for so that it's by itself. That's our ultimate goal, is to get that variable by itself on one side and everything else over to the other side of the equal sign. Okay, and then you're going to simplify it so the formula is as simple as you can, so that when you know what you want to input into the formula, you can substitute that a little bit easier. So for example, if I have the formula I equals PRT and I want to find P, so I want P by itself and everything else on the other side. What I'm going to do is look at what is stopping the P from being on its own. And in this case, I have an R and a T that are both multiplying that P. And that's what's stopping the P from being by itself. So how do you get rid of a multiply RT? We're going to divide by RT. Again, just like when we're solving algebraic equations, we need whatever we do to one side of the equal sign, we have to do to the other in order to keep it balanced. And so what I end up having on this side is I over RT equals P. And if we want, we can switch it around so it's P equals I over RT, because generally in formulas we like to have what we're looking for on the left-hand side, so you can flip those around if you like. But now the P is by itself and everything else is on the other side. So I want you to try question 2 and 3. Question 2, you're rearranging to solve for m and capital M, and in question 3, you're solving for lowercase m. So pause the video, try and rearrange for those variables, and then start it up again when you're ready. Okay, so if I look at question number 2, what is stopping the m from being by itself? And it's this c. This plus c, right, is stopping it from being by itself. So a positive c, to get rid of a positive c, we're going to subtract c. And so I end up with s minus c equals m. Again, if we want, we can flip them around so it has the m on the left-hand side, and m equals s minus c. And for question number 3, I have a plus b, and I have a multiply x, and if you remember when we're solving linear equations, we have to do the order of operations backwards. And so we're going to undo the plus b first. So how do we get rid of a plus b? We subtract b. So we end up with y minus b equals mx. And now I can get rid of this multiply x. I'm going to divide x, so I get y minus b over x equals m. And again, if we want, we can flip it around so that it's on the left-hand side. So m equals y minus b divided by x. So a couple more advanced ones for you to try. Try these 2 out. Pause the video and then start it up again when you're ready. Okay, so looking at this first one here, what we're trying to do is get the c by itself. and it makes it a little bit tricky because it's actually on the bottom here. So what we're going to do is we want to try and get rid of that fraction. And in order to get rid of this fraction here, I'm going to have to multiply each side by c squared. So right now it's being divided. I want to multiply, again, just to get rid of the fraction. And essentially what it's going to do is like move the c squared to the other side. So on this side, I end up with just an e. And on the right-hand side, I end up with mc squared. Now I can work at getting rid of this m to work on getting the c by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by m. So on this side, I end up with e over m equals c squared. And now the c is still not by itself because it has this squared. We want just c. So to get rid of or undo a square, we're going to square root. So we're going to square root both sides, which gives us the square root of e over m equals c. Okay, and then our number 5 here, and we want to get p by itself. And I notice there's a fraction. Again, we don't like fractions in these situations. They make the question a little bit harder. So to get rid of this divide 8, I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. So on this side, I get 64w, and on this side, it kind of cancels out that bottom fraction. So I get 8l times wl plus 2p. Now I could expand this bracket out and then work at getting the p by itself. But what we can also do is see that this 8l is multiplying the whole bracket, so I can divide both sides by 8l to get rid of it without having to expand that bracket out. If you did expand it out, you will get the same answer in the end. It just might be a little bit more work for you. So on this side, I have 64w over 8l equals wl plus 2p. And I notice that I can actually simplify this left-hand side a little bit more because 64 divided by 8 is 8. So I can put 8w over l. So I'm dividing this out, leaving me just 8 at the top on this side. And then I have wl plus 2p on the right-hand side. Now I'm going to work at getting rid of this wl by subtracting it out. So I get 8w over l minus wl equals 2p. And now I can get rid of this 2 by dividing both sides by 2. And I end up with 8w over l minus wl over 2 equals p. And you might be able to, depending on what you're doing, you might be able to look at that top fraction and try and work it around in different ways to get rid of the L on the bottom or kind of combine them in some way. But we're going to leave it at that because we've gotten the P by itself. Okay, now I want you to reflect on how you've done throughout this video. Give yourself a thumbs down if you're having trouble rearranging formulas and you need some help. Finger pointed if you need some more practice, and a thumbs up if you're like, I've got this, I know how to rearrange formulas, and so I don't need any more help or practice.